Part 2 or number 2. Look at Acts chapter 6, 1 to 7. And can somebody read this portion of scripture for us? Now, what was the problem? What was the source of the problem? It is too easy for us when we look back at Judaism in the first century to see it from our modern perspective. Judaism in European centers or European influence centers like North America is pretty monolithic, similar, common. There are varieties of beliefs, but it's fairly narrow range. Judaism, by the time of Pentecost, was very diverse, much more so than today. One of the great divides was Hellenic or Greek versus non-Hellenic. In simple terms, Jews in the Promised Land. So Hellenic Jews would speak Greek, heard the scriptures in Greek. The official name of the Greek translation of the Old Testament was the Septuagint. And the Hellenic Jews would have largely lived as minorities in many of the great cities and not so great cities found scattered throughout the Roman Empire and even beyond to what we would, for simple terms, call the Persian Empire. Jews that lived in the Promised Land spoke Aramaic, heard the scriptures in Hebrew. Now, there are things called Targums. They were Aramaic paraphrases of the Hebrew scripture, which were apparently used because not everybody was understanding of Hebrew at this time among the common people. And the Jews in Palestine, through what we consider the Promised Land, were largely the majority. There are some exceptions, but they were generally the majority. Now, look at Acts chapter 11, verses 19 to 21. This is an important passage. Maybe you could call it a swing passage. What we need to ask is, how did the presence of the Hellenic Jews prepare for this moment?